Everybody, Kyle and Sarah Hughes with Hughes Realty. Are you in the market to sell your home? If so, this is the #1 thing you need to understand to avoid losing thousands of dollars. Sarah and I were driving the other day and we drove by another listed house by an agent, and Sarah just told me, she's like, I know I could have sold that house by now and for more money.
They didn't know what the appropriate price for that neighborhood was. They're pushing it without giving that value, and there's no extra value that they're giving. Now, I know that if we came in, we would be able to still push that price because that's our specialty, is pushing prices, but in a realistic setting, in order to get the buyers into that property to create offers on it.
Well, and what they did, at least on that one, is they outpriced the market. You know, there's a range of market value, okay? On a low side and a high side, they're over here. What the problem was on that is they were on the market for 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Now, what is the perspective of a buyer driving by that property? What's wrong with that house? And guess what happens? They come down here, here's the high, and now they're on the low. So that's the problem with the days on market and listing high. We'll talk about a little bit about hitting that sweet spot, and that's the most vital thing. We see it all the time, $15,000 swings, $20,000 swings, by really doing the right thing.
So we had a listing in a neighborhood that we know very well. I'm extremely confident with every single house in there. I know the market value of it. We listed it right at fair market value. And unfortunately, there was a agent who listed the house across the street. They listed it for, I think it was approximately $15,000 under what that home should have sold for. And so that really does a lot of damage, not only to those sellers who are now getting $15,000 less for their property than they deserve and that they've built that equity in it, it also really hurts and damages that community because it pushes the values down for everybody. When you're interviewing an agent, you really need to look for someone who's going to look out for your best interest and who's going to price your property at market, really push that market for you, and can show you the statistics, can show you the data for your property.
And even furthermore on what Sarah said too is there's a comp range. You'll have a lower end comps, you'll have higher end comps. Why? Because buyers pay different prices for properties. Sellers sell for different prices. And understanding where you're at or what a buyer would be willing to pay is really what you need to do. That property, if we came in with what we were doing, very light minor items, we could have got them $15,000 more. So you need to price your property correctly. No, that's not low, that's not high. It's figuring out where and what we can do now in the current market. Because there's, depending on the comps in the neighborhood, hey, what's for sale? Is there a high demand? Guess what? We can try to push that. And that's another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on top.
So if you're thinking about selling, don't just call one agent off of Yelp. You know, go ahead, interview 2, 3, 4, 5 different agents. Make sure we're one of the groups that you call. We'll come, we'll show you the difference, and we hope to be able to help you
and price your home correctly.